UN actively passing names of Uighur dissidents to Chinese regime, whistleblower.
Here's a summary of the article.
Human rights lawyer interviewed on British radio station said her boss was the one passing on names to CCP. A human rights lawyer working for the United Nations in Geneva has accused the body's Human Rights Council of actively passing names of Uighur dissidents to the Chinese Communist Party. Speaking to Majid Nawaz on LBC Radio, Emma Riley said that prior to each UNHRC session, the Chinese government would ask the UN whether or not certain people were planning to come. She added, "It is completely against the rules to hand over that information to any government." In a recently released letter, UN Watch, an NGO that highlights UN malpractice and bias, revealed that as long ago as February 2017, although the practice has allegedly gone on since 2013, Chinese authorities, and others, regularly ask the UN Human Rights Office whether particular NGO delegates are attending future sessions. More alarmingly still, the Secretariat press release acknowledges that the Office of the High Commissioner for Human Rights confirms this information. Riley further maintained that the UN makes an exception for China and only for China. Both Riley and UN Watch asserted that China then uses the information that the UN provides them, to harass human rights activists and their families, often accusing them of terrorism and worse. The United Nations is handing over the names of genocided Uighur dissidents, to the government of China that is genociding them? He asked incredulously.
This post received a score of 83,000, with an upvote ratio of 83%. Here are the top comments in response to this article.
Nawaz was visibly struggling to absorb the enormity of what his interviewee revealed. The United Nations is handing over the names of genocided Uighur dissidents, to the government of China that is genociding them. He asked incredulously. The presenter asked Riley how she knew this, to which she replied, "Because my boss was the person doing it." While Riley's boss has been promoted, she has been frozen out of the UN, where she still works, and it transpires that nobody can take the matter to a court because the United Nations has diplomatic immunity. Any other species I could join without being ashamed of it every single day. Edit. Here's a link to the interview. Thank you, Moonshine Mondays. Edit 2. For those asking for more proof, on the LBC Twitter post with the interview, Emma Riley commented with the reply from the UN Ethics stating they are aware of this misconduct, but chose to ignore it because China was more important. Thank you, MKSTK.
I feel like this goes against the founding principles of the UN. I guess an organization can only be as good as its members.
I feel like people don't realize who is in the UNHRC and how much per they works there. The UN is not a global force for good.
Does anyone have a second source for this? From what I can tell, the news station appears to be reputable, but I would really appreciate confirmation on something like this.
I'm going to copy my comment from higher up in the thread, so if you've already seen it, my apologies. I cannot find any credible news organizations who have picked up this story. The most credible sources are a right-wing, pro-Israel lobby called UN Watch and Fox News. I'm not saying there is no substance here, but Emma Riley has apparently been making these claims since 2013 and first spoke to the press in 2019, and no other investigative journalist has covered it so far. The UK tabloid The Daily Express covered it though. I'm going to continue to be outraged about China's genocides, write to my congresspeople, and critique any UN fuck-ups, but this isn't going on my list until I see some real journalists involved.
This was my particular worry. I get that we need to take China to task, but it will quickly get out of hand if we make false allegations in the West. Ideally, we want to work with China in the future even if their ideals don't match up with ours. To achieve this, we realistically need to approach the problem diplomatically rather than outright believing anything we hear and then spitting it in their faces at the UN Assembly. Similar things about the WHO and IMF have been baselessly claimed by Trump and his supporters, so I remain skeptical.
This video was automatically created by Reddit to speech. The article and comments in this video were selected from Reddit according to their upvotes, and any paraphrasing was performed by smmry.com, without any human intervention.